What did Rabbi Akiva do after he lost 24,000 students? Anybody knows? What did he do? Did he give up? He came from non-Jews. He was a self-made man. Till 40, he didn't know Aleph Beis. He wasn't part of the system, Chevra. At the age of 40, he goes to learn Aleph Beis. He becomes the Gadol Hadar. 24 years, he mentors 24,000 students, and he loses every one of them. What's the normal emotional response? What would a therapist tell you? Jump off the Brooklyn Bridge or the Tappan Zee Bridge? Which one? Tranquilizers or Prozac? What would the therapist tell you? But Rabbi Akiva is nicht nespal gewar. And the Gemara says in Yevamos Samach Beis, he started all over again. You know with whom? With 5 students. Now here's the interesting thing. We don't know even one name of the 24,000 students. The 5 students, we know their names. We know what they taught. We know what they represented in Jewish history. The Gemara goes through in Sanhedrin. These 5 capture the whole Messiah of Torah Shabbal Peh. We know their names, we know their Torah, we know their story, we know their teachings. 24,000, they didn't only die, their memory died. What was the difference? My friends, the difference was one difference. The first group were intellectual giants, but they were judgmental people. Their Torah did not refine their character. They knew Kol HaTorah Kula, but they had no respect for somebody who's going through a different journey. Did you ever meet such people? They don't have space in their heart for struggle. They don't have space in their heart for people who are different. They don't have space in their heart for people who are going through a crisis. They don't have space in their heart for anybody who is not conforming exactly to their expectations, even though this person has a different type of neshama. It's my way or the highway, and if it's not my way, you burn in Gehenna forever. Those 24,000 students were brilliant people, but they are not remembered in the history of the Jewish people. Sadly, they're forgotten. It's not a small statement. It reminds me of the story. You know the story? There was a gvir, a big kamtzen, very stingy man. And a poor man came to him and he said, I didn't eat in 2 days. Could you give me a little food? He says, I don't give food to poor people. You can go to the shtibel and they'll give you food. So he says, I can't. I didn't eat. I'm going to die. Give me from the garbage can. So he takes from the garbage can leftovers of Shabbos. There was an old salty piece of fish, and he gives it to the poor man, and he gobbles it up immediately. And it was so salty and bitter that he fainted. So the man calls Hatzalah, and they rush him to the hospital. The next day, he tells his wife, I can't come home tonight. She says, why not? He says, I have a big mitzvah to do. She says, what? He says, you remember we had a guest yesterday. I gave him a piece of fish. Nebach, es geworden krank. There's a mitzvah of Bikur Cholim. So I have to go to the hospital. So he goes to the hospital for Bikur Cholim. The next day, he calls his wife. He says, I can't come home today. She says, why? He says, you remember the Choyle Nebach? He died. There's a big mitzvah to go to his levaya. I go to his levaya. The next day, he tells his wife, there's a big mitzvah of Nichem Avelim. He left the assignment. I have to go to pay a shiva call. He comes home from the shiva call, and he's smiling from ear to ear. His wife never saw him so happy in his life. She says, I don't understand you. What's so exciting? You're coming Nebach from a Nichem Avelim. Was bist du besimcha? He tells his wife, Wie kann ich nicht sein besimcha? Gib a guck, wie viel mitzvahs ich hab abgetan mit ein verstinkene, gesalzene Stickel Fisch. Fear for the größte mitzvahs. Hachnusses Orchem, Bikur Cholim, Halvuyas Hamayis, and Nichem Avaylim. Where do you have a better deal, better Olam Haba? One smelly piece of fish and 4 of the greatest mitzvahs. My friends, for some people, that's what Judaism looks like. They're collecting mitzvahs, Yoimam Valayla for Olam Haba. Trach wegen der zweiten Jiden. Think about another person's heart, about another person's soul, about another person's pain. Just because they don't look mamish like you, and they don't scream just like you, and they don't have your feelings. Talmidei Rebbe Akiva were brilliant people, but they lacked the sensitivity, the geschmack in Avos Yisrael, the understanding that a Yid who doesn't have a geschmack in Toivet Ananda Yidin, A person who walks around judgmental all day can't have a real shaykhus to Torah, can't have a real shaykhus to Hashem. We come to Hashem and we say, you, Rebbeinu Shalom, you I love, but your children, I hate. This one I hate, that one I hate. God can't listen to you. Tell me, I love you, Rabbi YY, I hate your kids. You hate my kids, get out of my life. Doesn't work that way. Loinagu covered zebazem meant they couldn't carry the Messiah of Torah. The Noam Elimelech writes, Rabbi Yishmael Oimer, B'shloish Esrei Midas HaTorah Nidreshes. Only a Jew who cultivates in his own life the Yud Gimel Midas Harachamim, can darshan and Torah. He chaps Torah. He has the emes of Torah. That's Torah. The 5 students of Rabbi Akiva were only 5, but they changed Jewish history forever. Because they understood that the essence of Yiddishkeit is working on yourself, working on your ego, becoming a humble human being in the presence of infinity, and seeing the God in every person, which happens when you could see the Chelek Elokam Mal in yourself.
Watch the full class at theyeshiva.net.